Good morning from
now, yes.
Gray, dark, wet Hamburg, where the German Climate Computing Center is located, which is the service owner of B2FIND, which I'm going to talk about. Very briefly, B2FIND basically is a interdisciplinary search portal for research data. Currently, we have about 48 communities. That's what we call the data provider, or research infrastructures, or portals where we collect the metadata. About 1.5 million records up to now. On the productive instance, on the test instance, it's even more. I would like to pick up one remark from the chat that refers to granularity, and this is crucial because, for instance, for the climate model community, we have only, so to say, about, I think it's 2,200 records for the CMIP ramps, for instance, which are in the World Data Center of Climate Change, but each record has underlying terabytes of data, right? So the level which is shown on B2FIND is the highest level, and then you can dig deeper. And this is, again, a question related to whether do you need only DOIs or even more. Yeah, so far for that. I just saw the question or the comment I wanted to reply to it. Within B2FIND, you can search for a free text search. You have a free text search, and then you can narrow down using several facets, and that you can try out yourself. It is b2find.eudat.eu. What is special? Actually, B2FIND works in a way, as I said, that we harvest communities. Those communities are, again, the research infrastructure, catalogs, or data provider we are harvesting. Then we do a mapping within the metadata ingestion. Those mapping includes semantic conversion, format conversion. It includes some closed vocabs, for instance, for languages, and so on and so on. And we do a lot of validation, and then we upload everything that is then in our internal, let's say, repository to into our search portal. And I think what is special is that we put a lot of effort to enable the harvesting of communities that do not expose metadata in an already standardized way. And this is not common. And in theory, the idea is that everything is done by machines, everything is automated, everything is not done, of course, in a handish way, which is totally true, but in reality, this is not the case. A lot of data repositories have a lot of data which are not in a way exposed in a standardized way. So what we do, we support for harvesting OAI PMH, of course. We do support CSW, which is important for especially for the geo communities, but we also support REST RPs, whether they are JSON RPs or others. Sparkle queries, so the harvesting of triples is only implemented in a beta version currently. For the mapping, we do support a lot of standards, of metadata standards. Of course, Dublin Core and DataCite, so the generic ones. OpenAIRE is more or less DataCite, including more identifier, not only DOIs. Of course, we do support EUDAT Core, which is the core metadata schema for all the EUDAT services, especially for the harvesting of B2Share. Which is basically DataCite plus discipline plus instrument plus geo on temporal coverage. Because geo coverage, so spatial coverage is possible to do that with DataCite. For temporal coverage, it is not yet. But of course, DataCite will evolve as well, so we will see. We do support thematic metadata standards, so those ISO standards. FGDC is kind of crosswalk for geolocations for DataCites. DDI is from the social sciences. We've implemented a DDI reader, but only for DDI 2.5. But what we do is that we include, or that we put some effort in developing community-specific mappings. So that even if there are no generic metadata standards offered, we tried to include all those metadata into our search portal. And on the search portal, then you can search, as I said, you can use the free text search, or you can use all the facets. I think we have currently 17, stuff like that, including something like instrument, which is not yet very often offered, but we have some instruments. And you can use all the other facets to narrow down. Right, B2FIND is not only a catalog, a metadata catalog, it's also a metadata aggregator, because all the records that are within B2FIND are exposed to OpenAIRE. They are automatically harvested by OpenAIRE. So some remarks on how the integration of B2Share record works. You have different instances of B2Share, right? So one is at CSC, another one is at FZJ, then you may have even a lot of more. This is only simplified diagram. Both of them, both instances, so both locations, let's say, do have a generic subset, which is called EUDAT, where you can store your data, and which is used when you have no specific instance or no specific community. But you have additional, also specific, as I said, communities having specific community metadata schemas within B2Share. So what happens when it comes to B2FIND? The EUDAT subset is all mapped onto the EUDAT community in B2FIND, and the specific communities having different or specific metadata schemes are then integrated as communities in B2FIND. Then we have all those other communities. Those are only some examples, coming to 48 at the end, and all records for them are then exposed to OpenAIRE. We do this with an OAI PMH interface we developed for CCAN, which is some work, but it works, and we do expose each community as a subset then. So we use currently for the transfer to OpenAIRE the DataSite metadata schema, because this is what OpenAIRE wants, but we also expose our metadata in EUDAT core, so with some specific elements, spatial temporal coverage, discipline, instrument, contact. What does that mean in practice? It means in practice, when you have a record stored in B2Share using the subset EUDAT, so this is the generic one, you just are a small project within, I don't know, university, and you just want to register your data somewhere. You go to B2Share, as Chris described, log in, create an account, and then you drop down your data there. What you get is here a DOI and a PID. The DOI is for referencing this record. The PIDs is the same, that's a handle actually, but you can also get handles for the underlying files. Right? So specifically for the use case, someone was asking in the chat, what can I do when I have millions of data? You can register within B2Share one, let's say, data set, getting a DOI, with underlying files all getting PIDs, right? And all of them being persistent. When you then look into B2FIND and you search here, for the community EUDAT, as I said, you see this record. And when you then click onto the single result page, you see that those identifiers are, let's say, gone through all the services. And those DOI then links back to the record in B2Share. That was B2FIND in very, very short.